Well, then march toward normality continues. My mum's having an afternoon to herself. She has recovered sufficiently that she can have time on her own now. She had time on her own yesterday afternoon. We're doing it again today and gradually hoping to build up so that she can return to her life and we can return to ours. Now, I think that given her age and the severity of the illness she had, there may have to be adjustments. I may have to stay over a few nights a week, but you know, we can get closer to normality than where we are currently. Certainly where I've been living with her 24/7 for the last month. She and I like very different things, so quite frequently there is a bit of disagreement, shall we say, but that's family life, you get a bit of friction. So one of the other jobs we're doing is putting in a bit of diesel, and because Gainer's staying aboard the boat, so with her staying aboard the boat, we want the boat to stay nice and warm. Also, although the days are getting longer, the days are getting colder, and so are the nights. And we've recently seen our first temperature for a while dropping below zero, and we weren't aboard the boat. I'm not too worried about the engine because it's got a mix of seawater and coolant in it, so the temperature's only just touched zero, and it is sitting in the Marina water, which is slightly brackish rather than pure salt, so you know, you can get ice on the top of it. But what we've done is we've set the Eber to run 3 times a day for 3-hour periods, and that just keeps the temperature in the boat up even if we're not aboard. And it seems to be working, but I'm going to make sure it doesn't run out of food for the Eber because that would be bad. Oh shit. That thing was from the diesel. Ever used this one last, managed to leave the inside of the nozzle full of diesel. So now I've got to clean the damn can off. Some people make a tremendous mess, don't they? Anyway, that's the diesel. Now I've got to do is get it aboard. Here in Bangor they have you fill your own diesel thingy and you put a card in, and it usually works. Occasionally it has a wee wobbler, but don't try and use the card with tappy and all the rest of it. Just put it in and use the chip and pin. It's a lot easier that way. If you are going to get diesel, in this place my advice to you is do it at the top of the tide. At the bottom of the tide. This ramp's like that, it's like climbing the flipping Matterhorn. These off. In our last video we had a comment along the lines of, I see you're using fuel set, why are you using that? My chandler said that fuel set was basically no good. And the reason we use it is because we read a review in Practical Boat Owner many years ago that said, of the 2 types, the killer and the dispersant, this is the best dispersant and Marine 16 is the best killer. And we quite like the idea of the dispersant, dissolving things, eventually cleaning the tank and doing things like that. And we've used it for years. The only time that we stopped using it was when we ran out. We didn't get any for 6 months, and next time we changed the diesel filter there was black goo on top. So we immediately ran out and got some, and ever since then we've never had black goo ever again. The problem these days is that diesel isn't really diesel anymore. What used to be diesel is what they conducted the tests on, whereas what we have today is really just some sort of goop added to diesel up to about 7 or 10%, something like that. And I've got no idea whether the fuel set works in the goop. It might work in the diesel component. Does it work in the rest? I have no idea. Is the gumminess we've been getting in the diesel due to that? Could be. I don't know. Is fuel set any good in this stuff? Haven't the foggiest. So if any of you know any better, put your comments down below, because we could do with a little refresher, a little update. If you're watching this from Practical Boat Owner, how about a new set of tests, please? Anyway, you seen Gaynor using the self-priming siphon on the last video, so I'm not going to go through all that again. We did have one question about what is a self-priming siphon? What it is, it's got a brass fitting with a little glass ball at the end, and you can hear the glass ball. Hang on, get it a bit better than that. And as you shake it, diesel gets trapped behind the ball and pushed up the tube. And then as you push it down, the tube opens, more diesel comes in. Then as you lift it, gets trapped behind the ball and pushed up the tube, and so on, until eventually the tube is full of diesel. And once that happens, the siphon's established, and away you go. It's great, because in a Marina, you can stuff that much of it there down into your fuel tank. And then you've got all the stuff here to go into that. This isn't the one it came with. I took the one off, took the brass fitting off, attached this with a Jubilee clip, because this is bigger, harder, and lasts longer, more flexible. It's reinforced, whereas the other one tends to get kinks in it, and then the siphon gets broken and doesn't really work. This one is getting stiff. The diesel's having an effect on it, and it will have to be junked. But 2 meters of this stuff isn't that expensive, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm not doing it today, by the way. I'm just saying that when its time finally comes, that's what I'm going to do. So a bit of straightening up, and we're all good to go. Dum-de-dum-dum. And in it goes. And that's it. It's full of diesel. It's doing its thing. One of the questions we did get asked was about Marina prices. How much does it cost? Can you give me some idea of Marina costs? The quick answer is no. The more nuanced answer is that the costs are so wildly variable, I can't really give you anything that will mean anything. But I can give you the reasons why that is. Firstly, all marinas have different prices. Just like all shops have different prices. No, marinas are no different. Secondly, it also depends on the boat. Marinas charge by length, so you think that's pretty good. But the amount they charge by length varies from marina to marina because they're all different. It also depends which plan you go on. I mean, this marina's got a number of plans. There's a daily plan, there is a weekly plan, there is a monthly plan, there is a seasonal plan, and there is an annual plan, and they all have different prices depending which one you pick. The prices vary time of year. If you get a seasonal winter plan, it's half the price of a seasonal summer plan, so it depends when you do it. If you go for a serviced pontoon with water and electric, that is a different price from an unserviced pontoon with no water and no electric. You know, some slips and berths may be more expensive than others. The further away you are from the building, the less they might charge. It depends on the marina. They might charge the same for everything. Some marinas have deals. Like, for instance, Carrickfergus has a deal in the, I think it's all year round. I don't know if they're still running it, but what the deal was if you arrived and told them you were staying for 2 nights, they'd charge you for 1 if you paid up front. And it had to be up front. If you tried to pay them on departure, they charged you for the 2 days. So you get deals like Isle of Man. You can buy between, I think it's April and October, you can buy a 40-day deal there. And for this boat, the deal was £5 per day. So for £200, we bought 40 days in the Isle of Man. That entitles us to mirror up against any harbour wall or any mirroring in the Isle of Man with no further charges. Not pontoons. Now, to be fair, there's not a lot of pontoons in the Isle of Man. Peel, and there's a couple at Port St Mary, and I think Port Erin's got a small one, and Douglas, of course. Other than that, you're on mirroring balls anyway. So for us, we don't mind harbour walls, we don't mind mirroring balls. It was convenient, but there you go. So sometimes just ask about deals. That can be very helpful. If we went the daily plan in here, I think it was about €37 a day for this boat. If we go on the annual plan, it's about €10 a day for this boat. So you see there's a huge range of variations. And that's really why I cannot give a definitive answer as to what's the cost of a marina. If you were doing this in the south coast of England, the prices would be astronomical compared to here, simply because in the south coast there are far more boats than places and they're all trying to squeeze in. Here, there's capacity, so the prices are cheaper. That's simple. Carrick has very similar prices to here, slightly cheaper. Belfast has a even cheaper price. If I was coming some distance, say like North Wales to here, I would ask. I'd phone up all 3 marinas and get their prices, because at that distance, even though it's an extra 5 or 6 miles down the loch to Belfast, at that distance, 200 miles, what's an extra 5? But if I was doing it from, say, Port Patrick to here, I'd probably stop at Bangor because it's the closest Marina. Price be damned. Anyway, I've got another wee job to do. I'm going to get on with that now.